Lake County area. I live in Howe in the Hills. I've lived here, this is my 13th year, and I survived domestic violence from a culture where we don't speak up. The 911 call you hear, generally in the community I grew up, it's unheard of, because we don't say we're experiencing domestic violence. I was married to an alcoholic abuser for 21 years. I have, at the time I left, my son was 15, my daughter was 11. And I want to thank Ruby Street Grill, hands for Ruby Street Grill. Because all the years I was writing my book, they fed me very, very well. As soon as they see me walk in the door, they know what I want. So I wrote the book right here in Lake County. It was published this year. It's published for an international audience. I am from a group called Break the Silence, Saying No to Domestic Violence, and we have traveled with, and I'll introduce you to my colleague. We have traveled overseas, and I just want to talk briefly about some of the statistics here in the U.S., and my colleague Stella is going to talk about the statistics internationally, because we live in a small town. We really do not have exposure to what domestic violence platform looks like outside of this little small town. In the U.S., I'll give you some domestic facts. This paper is over on the Hair Strands site, Domestic Violence Facts, and along with every county in Florida for all the years through 2010. Phenomenal statistics. So if you want to grab one and educate yourself on it, that would be great. This is in the U.S., 1 out of every 4 women experience domestic violence in their life. 1 out of every 4. 85% of violence are women. Most are underreported. Domestic violence is the number 3 cause of death of women in the United States. It is the least reported. Domestic violence and sexual abuse is the least reported crime in the U.S. 1/3 of every woman that killed in the U.S. is killed by a domestic partner. That is a fact by the Florida Department of Coalition of Domestic Violence. In the U.S., it takes $5.8 billion annually to fight domestic violence. Of the 5.8, 4.1 has to do with medical care. So that is the U.S. statistic. The Florida statistic, I am just only going to talk about the Lake and the Sumter County. Year over year from 2009, Lake County has gone down 8% in total violent domestic crimes. Sumter County has gone down 6%. But that is unreported crime. Remember, most domestic violence do not get reported. So I just want to say, why are we here today? In some countries, we don't even see agencies like the Haven. I've partnered up with the Haven. I've partnered up with the Harbor House of Central Florida, along with the New York District Attorney, to become an outreach agent for my community who do not speak. They don't go out voluntarily and report domestic violence. Someone has to come get them and take them. So we are here. This agency is phenomenal. I joined up with Loretta last year, and I told her, as long as I am around, I am going to support her, because last year was her first. This is her second, and definitely was bigger than last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you can, I am donating my books and my documentary for free to benefit the Haven. All proceeds from that sale, I will sign the book if you buy it. I don't know how many are up there, probably a handful. All proceeds go to the Haven tonight to help Loretta and her cause. So I just want to thank you all for coming. So one of the things we share globally, and it's funny because we have said this statement in an audience of thousands in stadiums, and I never get emotional, but when I came in here today, because this is my home crowd, and this is a crowd I've been with for many, many years that really, really support me in Lake County. I have made a lot of friends here in Lake County. So what do we want to do as far as a global message? And this is universal, here in the U.S. or overseas. We have a simple message for evicted agencies like the Haven, like the Harbor House. We want to say, globally, we have 3 things to say to victims. When you have no strength, the agencies and us, we will be your strength. When you have been silenced, we will be that voice. When you have been made to feel worthless, we will transform you into a priceless gem. And with that said, I'm going to introduce Ms. Stella Ramsaru. She is part of my group. She has immense knowledge globally. She is a columnist for an international newspaper and has written for many, many years on extremely controversial issues. When we travel, speaking about domestic violence can either damage your career or end your life. Depends where you're at and what your audience is. So I want to introduce you to Stella. She will share with you guys some international information. So out of our little small town, you get to see what it is. And we have traveled to help Loretta, help the Haven, make some money tonight. $50 it costs them an average to house one victim for one night. $50. And Stella, I hand it over.
Thank you, Sukree. I call her sis. We're sisters. We're sisters with a cause. I wanted to share some international statistics with you. Like Sukree said, we travel internationally to help. We've also traveled here in the States too, but we travel internationally to bring awareness to the cause of domestic violence because there's so many people who don't speak out. According to the UN Progress Report that was just released in October, hear me? Okay. Based on surveys from 70 countries, up to 60% of women have experienced physical or sexual violence in their lifetimes. 125 countries, 2/3 of all countries in the world, have outlawed domestic violence. However, 603 million women and girls continue to live in countries where there is no specific legal protection from domestic violence. 52 countries have explicitly criminalized rape within marriage. Worldwide, 2.6 billion women and girls live in countries where rape within marriage is not explicitly criminalized. Based on surveys from 49 countries, on average, a quarter of women and men think that they agree that it's sometimes justifiable. Domestic violence is sometimes justifiable. 52 countries, they think, okay, yeah, it's okay sometimes. Approximately once every 2 hours, a practice known as bride burning takes place in India due to inadequate dowries or to eliminate her so that the man can remarry. Despite impressive gains in gender equality, nearly 4 million poor women are missing each year in developing countries. Just missing. More girls have been killed in the last 50 years just because they were girls than the number of males who were killed in all the wars in the 20th century. I'm going to say one more thing about honor killings here. The United Nations Populations Fund estimates that perhaps as many as 5,000 women and girls are killed by members of their own family each year. Our purpose for being here, these are some statistics worldwide, but our purpose of being here is to let you know that we have been, like Sukree said, in countries where there is no safe place for a woman to go, where she needs to get away, she needs a place to be safe, to escape from her abuser, to just be able to sleep for one night without being beaten. And there's nothing like this. I experienced this just last month in a country. This girl needed to get away. She had no place to go. Absolutely no place to go. And what do you do with those people? There has to be a place. Here in this county, there's the Haven. And they're looking out for the women in this area who need a safe place to go.
So we urge you to go ahead and support this organization. We end our tour, our global message on Saturday. We're doing a session, empowerment session specifically for the communities that do not speak out. And I want to thank Loretta for having us. And we love you, and we'll do it again next year.